What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a new episode of Devin the Bear, here with a camera video, as you can see. So everybody out there that gave a shit about that, please tune in and watch our video, listen to our podcast. We would highly appreciate that. We're being innovative now. It's 2022, like I've been told, nonstop, right, Zach?
Yeah. I'm pretty over being told, if you guys had video, people would probably listen, because I didn't realize that you listen with your eyes.
Yeah.
My
so
bad.
Here we are to apparently everybody just knows how to read lips, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're not going to include audio in this, right? But yeah, so let's get right back into things. So this past weekend, there was a lot of things happening in MMA. Specifically here, just to really talk about the UFC fight card that happened, Jamal Hill versus Johnny Walker. We're getting there. I'm nervous because I'm on camera, But and also there was a BKFC event to look out for. There were some UFC veterans that had fought on that card. But let's mainly get into this card real quick with Jamal Hill and Johnny Walker. A lot of great fights happened on that card. It was definitely a sleeper card, like we talk about with this,
Yeah, I think a lot of times these free fights, the fight nights or the fight in Vegas, whatever they're calling them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of time they're filled with a lot of fighters who are up and coming, but just don't have the attention yet.
Right.
So what you end up getting is fighters like Jessica Rose Clark, for one.
Mm-hmm.
She lost this fight, unfortunately, but we'll get there. But she was at a point where she doesn't have a huge following, but everyone likes watching her fight.
Right.
She's very entertaining to watch. It just didn't work out for her.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we had talked about, I know that I had started watching the card a couple fights in, and whenever I turn on this, the card I tuned into was Chad Analager defeating Jesse Strader by third round TKO, but I caught the 2 rounds previous to that, and the fact that these guys didn't get the $50,000 bonus is ridiculous. These guys went at it. They fought with a purpose. They fought, and they went in there and threw down, left it all in there. Analager just ended up getting a nice right hand to the top, right to the face, and ended up getting the finish in that fight. But still, it's like those guys, it was 1-1 going into the third. And it was just about who wanted that win more, who wanted to actually prove a point with that and solidify that, hey, no, I'm the better fighter in this go about. But I don't know. I just feel like those guys should have really got that fight night bonus, and I'm pretty disappointed that they didn't.
Who did?
Nobody.
Sure. Nobody?
Yeah, there was no bonus given out for it.
Sick.
Yeah, and so this comes back to the whole thing. It's like, if you want to get paid more, you got to fight like you want to get paid more. And these guys fought like they wanted to get paid more, and they didn't.
Did Jim Miller not get a bonus?
Let me double check for you real quick.
That was my favorite part of the night, and I guess we can go ahead and start.
He didn't.
On that, he didn't?
One person I did want to mention real quick before we get into the main card is Chad Skelly getting a great TKO win.
Retiring.
Yep. So it was...
really good win.
Yeah.
Pretty vicious with the punches. But, he did retire. He's working on roofing business.
Really?
And he was talking about, I'm doing roofing. So anyone if in the Philly area or wherever, if y'all need roofs, let me know. And then Paul Felder was like, hey, man, I might hit you up soon. I actually need some work done.
Look at that.
Let's do it.
There we go. Already got a second job going. And so hopefully he'll be just enjoying his retirement. His roofing business is successful. And he's still singing Tenacious D at karaoke bars around Texas. So looking forward to it.
So good luck to Chad Skelly and everything he's doing, because I've been a fan of him since his debut in the UFC. He is a fantastic fighter. He's always really fun to watch. So Jim Miller, freaking dude's 38 years old, and he's got 2 vicious knockouts in a row. Both times actually were on young up and comers. They're supposed to be the new big thing, and this one was a guy from the Dana White Contender Series. It was I'm blanking on his name, Mata, and
Nicholas Mata.
Yeah, and it was a pretty good fight. It was actually a really good fight, because Mata was bringing it to Jim Miller, and I think they were pretty good exchanges, but I think Mata was getting the better of him each time. But eventually what you had was Jim Miller just jumping in with his hook, and it's he even says in the post-fight interview, it's not a fight, it's not a punch that was there the whole time. It was just something that he threw out there because he was like, I knew it could land, so I threw it out there, and It did land and it put him down.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the way he leaps into that, he put everything into that hook. He was not playing any games. Jim Miller came to fight and prove a point, and it's just like to prove that he is the most active UFC fighter still on the roster. You know, he's breaking records.
He's now tied with Donald Cerrone for most UFC victories.
Yeah, he's tied with Donald Cerrone. He has that was his 39th UFC fight. And so he's just constantly still going and doing this. I mean, we've seen that guy fight everybody. He's fought Donald Cerrone. He's fought Frankie Edgar, Clay Guida, Charles Oliveira. Has a win over Charles Oliveira, if you didn't know that.
Tapped him out.
Yeah. With the, what was it, calf slicer?
Charles Oliveira. Yep, one of my favorite submissions.
Yeah, and just like the way it was absolutely insane. This is whenever Charles Oliveira was just getting into the UFC. There was a lot of hype on him as well. And then puts that calf slicer on him out of nowhere. I mean, just like the way, that's the thing about the calf slicers. You don't ever expect it. It just happens. You know, and it's not a fun submission to be in either. So yeah, it hurts so much.
Slicer.
Avoid them at all costs.
But yeah, so we can go ahead and jump into the main event.
Yeah.
And talk Jamal Hill's KO on Johnny Walker. I'm a huge Johnny Walker fan. It's losing traction with me. Unfortunately, I'm a fan of the guy, but as far as his fighting, I had a lot of hopes in him and what he could do with his career. But I think what we saw Jamal Hill do to Johnny Walker is exactly what we've seen a lot of fighters do.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson did it.
Yep.
And it's what it is just staying focused and tight with your boxing.
It happened to him on the regional circuit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember who he fought, but he was being goofy, and then he caught, and he's kind of flailing all over the place.
Yeah, and that's what happened was he threw a jab, and as soon as he gets that jab extended, he starts throwing his right hand, and it's like, no, man, you got to be a little bit tighter and crisper than that, and especially against someone who has hands like Jamal Hill. I know you were big on Jamal Hill's hands, and
right, yeah,
you know that paid off.
One of my favorite Jamal Hill moments that didn't happen in the ring, but actually was outside with him and Paul Craig were set to fight. And they got in each other's face. They were doing autographs on posters, and Paul Craig walks into him and says, "You got some nasty ass breath there, mate." And Jamal Hill's like, "Yeah, I got some nasty ass hands too." And it just was funny as shit just to hear him kind of reverse the shit talk a little bit and come up with something kind of clever. But it's one of those things with Jamal Hill is like he's up and coming. He has a great string of knockouts as well. I mean, you look at that guy Tyler Rail. He sleeps people. He's got hands, and he moves so well for being 205. He's big. He's long. And so whenever I saw this fight got made, I saw somebody getting knocked out. I didn't see this fight go into decision. I don't see either of these guys fighting to decision anytime they fight. That's why I was surprised when Johnny Walker went to decision with Thiago Santos. But Jamal Hill, man, he's got hands for days. Like, he doesn't play any games. When you go in there, he'll outbox you quick. If you are going there any type of sloppy. We saw it against Jamie Crute, and we saw it with, last night with Johnny Walker, is that whenever they went face to face and Johnny Walker threw a left hand, right?
Yeah. So he throws out that jab, and like I said, he fully extends the jab, and then is already throwing his right hand.
Yeah, and Jamal Hill had all the confidence in the world to put it into that right hand, and that's exactly what he did. Landed right on the temple, and you see just the way that Johnny Walker kind of goes forward, but then realizes that my legs and my brain aren't doing the same thing. You know, like he's just completely was detached from reality at that second, fell back. And you pointed this out to me when we were kind of watching it over again today. It wasn't a follow-up punch that knocked him out. It was that shoulder right to the face that just stiffed him out.
When you watch it, so he lands that punch, the right hand that puts Johnny Walker on the ground, and then he's going in, and he's like falling with these punches. So he misses a left, and he comes in and has a follow-up punch that lands right on the chin.
Yeah.
But then he's like falling with it, so his shoulder and all of his body weight just smashes in to Johnny Walker's face.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you that's how Johnny Walker got that huge cut on his face.
Yeah, because you see it was the same exact side that where he fell into it. Yeah.
It was pretty rough, and that's what knocked him out cold. Was him just putting his body weight into him.
It was very Kamaru Usman-esque whenever he knocked out Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, and so with that, man, I mean, with Jamal Hill, hopefully we see him climbing more. I think a fight with him and Ryan Spahn would be really fun. Ryan Spahn needs to win. Jamal Hill's coming off of a big knockout, and so I feel like that fight might make a little bit of sense.
It'd be fun. I feel like Jamal Hill could have a bigger opponent.
Right, yeah. I mean, it would be nice also to see him kind of get a little bit of a push as well to start, because he's number 12 now in the division. I think he might be moving up.
What is Spawn?
I'm checking right now. Let me I'll pull up the UFC rankings. But I mean, it would be kind of nice to see just a little bit more of a push with these guys, because the thing about the light heavyweight division is a lot like the heavyweight division is these older guys are taking over and these younger guys that are coming in aren't doing as well, you know? Well, it's not that they're not doing as well. It's just like they really can't compete with this, you know, there's grown man strength that comes along with this fighting experience and the being a veteran of the sport, you know, like whenever we saw Ryan Spawn fight Anthony Smith went out there and put it on him, you know? And so it's just going to be something that we're going to just have to look out for. We good?
Yep.
Okay. And so
you would've kept talking.
No, you're good. I just figured you were going to edit it out. That's why I just like. So actually, Ryan Spawn is actually ranked below him. So if I probably won't make that
as in
below Jamal Hill. Like Jamal Hill's 12 and Spawn is 13.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
that's what I was saying is I think he could get a bigger opponent.
Volkan Ozdemir.
Ozdemir's still higher up.
Yeah, he's number 8.
He's top 10.
Yeah, he's still top 10.
When was the last time he won a fight?
That's a good question. Probably before his title fight with Daniel Cormier. I would say that was the last time that he won a fight.
That statement in itself is dated.
Yeah, very dated. I mean, how
is Volkan? And that just proves your point. Yeah. Honestly, the fact that Volkan Ozdemir is still in the top 10.
I'm being an asshole. Last person to beat was Alexander Rakic.
Yeah,
back in 2019.
Was that by decision?
By split decision.
Yeah, that is the reason we forgot that fight. Sorry, Volkan. Respect.
Apologies. My apologies. Sorry.
But yeah, so that's our take on Jamal Hill and Johnny Walker. Hope Johnny Walker gets some stuff figured out.
Yeah, he has a lot to figure out, because if he's not cut after this, then I mean it's what's that, loser leaves town kind of match, like like good old fashioned wrestling style. Like let's say Chael Sonnen actually had one of those fights before in the UFC. I forgot who he was fighting, but he had a loser leaves town style match with somebody and he lost. And then he went off to a different organization and he came back to the UFC. So so on to that. I mean, I also did want to touch up on the BKFC event, the bare knuckle. What was that called? Knucklemania. Yeah. Knucklemania 2 was the event that they had last night. Knucklemania. Yeah, I'm kind of with it at the same time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's bring back the 90s WWF style stuff.
Yeah.
And the promos. And I am not a fan of the schmo, but they work with the schmo sometimes. Do it.
Yeah, you make it fun, make it an event, because sometimes it kind of takes away from it being a serious sport, and it's like, this is fighting versus, hey, this is just a fucking circus at the same time. But it's not like no Triller Fight Club type circus, you know.
And it's also, a lot of these fighters are just, they're fighters because their personalities stand out.
Yeah.
They aren't, businessmen. They're not professional athletes in the sense of they have to go out there with this very specific code of conduct. Yeah. They're just going to go be who they are. When you have Mike Perry and Julian Lane headline a card and do promo events, you better expect something wild.
Yeah. And I found out also, Julian Lane is half black. I had no clue. Because he was calling out Mike Perry for the use of the word. And I thought that was funny. And then I had no clue about that, and then Julian Lane was like, that he's like, I got people outside ready to whoop your ass for saying that shit, and then he's like, I bet you didn't know I was black, and then there's a black security guard holding him back, and the security guard's trying not to laugh at the whole situation, and I'm like, God, man. But besides the press conference, the event was one hell of an event if you're a Chad Mendes fan. That guy came out there and put out his opponent in the 4th round and did it in devastating style. I mean, I always enjoy watching Chad Mendes fight. He is not a boring wrestler like he used to be. I mean, he's evolved into a true mixed martial arts before he fully left the sport. His boxing is as pure as it can get. And he picked up the win by TKO in the 4th round. And that doesn't go unnoticed, though. That dude is juiced to the fucking gills.
You said the word pure, and I was like, I wonder... how pure he is, though.
Yeah, not pure at all. About as pure as a priest in a Boy Scout convention, Yeah. Poorly timed jokes. Keep them coming, right? And so, but besides the point, it's, that dude is on some shit. There's no fucking way, bro. It's not the elk meat. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Bro, I eat elk meat and smoke DMT and go hunting with Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Do you know he hunts a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't sure if you knew that about him, but yeah.
They've gone on a trip together.
That's pretty cool, actually. But Chad Mendes, actually, this is why I wanted to bring that up, though, is he had talked about how he still had 3 fights on his contract with the UFC. And Dana White allowed him to go and fight in the BKFC, and he said that he kind of wants to fight out his contract with the UFC still, but he's like, I don't know if I want, he's like, but if I go back, I want to be able to negotiate more money because I got paid $600,000 with BKFC. And it's one of those things where it's like, so your boss let you be the independent contractor. You have this chance to do something that nobody else has done, fight for another organization while still being under contract, and then you're going to go and pretty much spit it in their face and say they should give you more money.
That is looking a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
Because the UFC is so strict about what you can do while you're under contract with them. Fighting under an organization does not fall into that category of what things you can do. So Chad Mendes is very lucky that Dana White let him go do that. I'm actually really curious as to why.
Yep.
Because you have so many guys that have garnered the respect and deserve the chance to go fight somewhere else. And I'm particularly talking about Francis Ngannou boxing Tyson Fury. That should have happened. We're not going to get that. Well, we might now. But I don't understand why that's not okay. It's unacceptable, but Chad Mendes going and doing the BKFC. I guess because the cards that BKFC puts on are loaded with UFC veterans.
Yeah. So my thing was about it is like, man, like, they let you do it, didn't give you any problems. You know, they didn't try to sue you like how they try to sue everybody else. And then you're going to say, I'm not going to go back and listen for more money.
If you try to go renegotiate, they're not going to let you do it again.
Yeah.
You're just going to mess with them, and they're not going to like that.
They're going to say, well, we let you go out and make more money, and then now you're just going to go bash us.
Complaining about it? Cool.
Yeah. No, that doesn't work that way, man. I don't know. I didn't like that. I thought it was in poor taste. But also the UFC does a lot of things in poor taste as well. So, and that's a fact, you know. So... But the main event was Mike Perry defeating Julian Lane in like a hard-nosed fight. Those guys went at it, you know. He let Julian Lane bang, you know. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I had to bring it up, dude.
Bang, bro.
Yeah.
I do let you bang.
That's goddamn it, dude. And they threw down, though. They threw down for 5 rounds. I mean, you saw Mike Perry do an interview after the fight, and his face was swelled up. I understand it's a lot of bare knuckle onto the face. It's going to swell up a lot more. But, man, it's fights like that. It's like you realize how brutal of a sport this is. You know, it's like, dude, like he just it sounded like he like had like he sounded like the Godfather. He sounded like Sean Connery in the Godfather. Like he had cotton stuffed in his mouth. Just like
Marlon Brando?
Yeah, like Marlon Brando. I don't know why I said Sean Connery. This is
yeah. No. BKFC definitely puts on great fights. They have great matchups, and the sport itself is pretty great. I've had a pretty good time watching Julian Lane in BKFC, and I never thought I would say that.
Yeah,
he's very fun to watch. I guess if you let a guy hang out in the locker room and then come back out a little bit more swole than he was before.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're drinking the secret juice over there, man.
Yeah, they got Mike's secret stuff in the locker room. I would love to see him come back and get a win, and then have like Mike Perry keep winning, and then him lose, and then just realign for another fight with them too, because it's so fun watching the build up to that.
You know what I wish they would do is I wish Chris Lieben didn't retire and he fought Julian Lane.
Chris Lieben?
Yeah, and Julian Lane. You know how fun of a fight that would be. Chris Lieben was undefeated in BKFC. I want to say
they're not in the same weight class, are they?
Yeah, 185.
When Lieben fought in the BKFC, was he 185?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's in. Chris Lieben is in the hospital right now with COVID. Actually,
really?
He might have been discharged yesterday.
Yeah.
But he was hospitalized for a while. Yeah, he's doing all right though.
Yeah, that's good though. Glad he's doing better. I'm a big fan of that guy. So if you don't know who Chris Lieben is, please go look him up. He was one of the original hard-nosed
smasher.
The cat smasher.
Cat smasher.
Somebody that Zach actually keeps up with, Bobby Southworth, was on the same Ultimate season, original season of the Ultimate Fighter with Chris Lieben, and also check out Bobby Southworth. He's
working doing some jiu-jitsu in his gym. He's had some issues here and there with UFC gym. The facility had to close down, but he's coaching out of a jiu-jitsu gym. He's trying to get his own gym up and running, and I really hope he does it because he's a cool dude.
He was a MMA fighter before being an MMA fighter was cool. Like whenever like there was Chuck and Tito and all them, like Bobby was doing this stuff on the regional scene just like Chris Lieben was. Bobby Southworth is also the first ever Strikeforce light heavyweight champion. So there's definitely some history that's happened while he was around fighting. So that's why I think it's definitely worth looking into, just as much as Chris Lieben. I mean, that guy, dude, has fought like anybody and everybody. He's fought Anderson Silva, Uriah Hall, Vanderlei Silva, Brian Stan, Michael Bisping. He fought Michael Bisping in the first ever UK card they had.
Not Yushin Okami, Sexyama.
Sexyama. He fought
His fight with Sexyama.
Took that fight on 2 weeks' notice. I think they ended up winning fight of the year that year. Yeah, absolutely insane. So, do you want to get it? Well, I know there's next week's card as well. There was a Bellator card, but yeah, that's about it. I haven't even looked into it, to be honest with you.
I haven't either.
It's okay. It don't matter.
We'll edit this out.
So, next week's card is a good card from what I remember. I'll get there. Is Bobby Green stepping in last minute?
Makhachev.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Yes. I actually am very excited for that. I think Bobby Green's going to feel fine.
Yeah, I think so too. He didn't take a lot of damage in that fight.
He didn't take a lot of damage. He might be sore.
Yeah.
But
I think that's the upside of taking this fight at 160 as well. He's not going to have to cut as much. And he's a pretty lean guy. I don't think he's ever had an issue making weight.
Him and Makhachev, that's going to be very interesting because Makhachev's going to back him down.
Yeah, he's going to
That's how Bobby Green fights. Yeah. My thing is the level change.
Yeah.
How is Bobby Green going to handle the level changes of Makhachev? Because when Islam Makhachev is so good at disguising his level changes because he knows exactly how to get you worried about his hands. So once he gets you worried about his hands, he goes for that level change at the perfect time. He disguises it so well. Bobby Green, as a counter striker, uses his hands. I would love to see him start using some knees.
Yeah.
Because when guys shoot in on him, they're either hold him up against the cage. Bobby Green does have great takedown defense, but against someone like Islam Makhachev, that's going to be very hard to do for freaking 25 minutes. That's going to be real hard to do.
And that's the thing about with Islam Makhachev. He trains with these guys like he trains with all these Dagestani guys. They don't get tired. They will if they shoot 21 times and you stuff 20 of them, they're still going to go for and you stuff it 21 times, they're going to shoot for a 22nd. They will not stop until they get you where they want you to be. And Bobby Green has good wrestling as well. It's not, but he has good defense when it comes to that aspect. But there's levels to wrestling, and then there's the Sambo. And something about this Sambo, dude, is absolutely insane to watch. We've seen it before. But that being said, I want Bobby Green to go out and get this win because I would like to see him get close to a title because, I mean, he's a great fighter. I've been a fan of his for a while. I think the only time I went against him was when he fought Dustin Poirier. But, I mean, this is something that I've always watched that dude fight. And for him to step in last minute and say, I'll take that fight on 2 weeks' notice. I mean, we saw Bobby Green almost went undefeated in 2020 taking these last-minute fights. He's one of the most active fighters that year, And
he had like 90 days in between one fight and then 12 in between this one, something like that.
Yeah, so it's not like he's not used to taking these last-minute fights, but it's just a thing of being prepared for somebody like Islam. Because now Islam, he's not going to be able to, like, whatever his game plan was for Benil Dariush is probably not going to happen now because he's fighting a completely different fighter. So he's going to go to what he knows best, and that is wrestling. That's grappling.
Well, the thing about these Dagestani guys is their game plan is always the same.
Yeah.
It's always go in there, impose your will, break them down. It's always the same. So I'm sure he did have a game plan that would work more or be more geared towards Benil Dariush, but I don't think the game plan changes a whole lot against Bobby Green.
Yeah.
And if I were to choose, I'd actually put my money on Islam.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
My money would be on Islam because Bobby Green is coming off of a fight, and it did go to decision. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
He fights on the back foot, and that's kind of a grueling way to fight. You get tired out really fast that way against someone like Makhachev, who's going to be making you back up even if you didn't want to back up.
Yeah.
I just don't see it working out for Bobby Green unless he gets a knockout.
Yeah.
Unless he gets that clean counter left hook or something.
Yeah.
My money's on Islam.
I mean, it's just with Islam, like we see when he does to these guys, and I really don't blame you. I mean, but I always enjoy a good upset. So if you got an extra $100, put that shit on. Yeah, put that honey on fucking Bobby Green. Yeah, on Bobby Green. What's his nickname? He has a nickname, doesn't he? King.
Yeah.
Put
just watched him fight.
Right. And so put that 100 on Bobby Green, second round knockout. Calling it.
Who else is on that card?
That's about it. I was actually just looking at the card, and there's really nobody that I was like, we'll bring them up. Then I was like, no, it's okay.
Well, we'll talk more about that when it happens.
For sure.
We can go into that. Hopefully it's a great card.
And so I know the next time that you'll be seeing us, it will be the after the aftermath of this card and leading into the Covington versus Masvidal fight.
Yeah.
And that's a great,
exciting.
Yeah, that's a very exciting fight. I can't really wait to get into that one as well. And be on the lookout. We're gonna be lining up some guests, hopefully coming on real soon. There are some changes happening in my personal life, so our days on recording are gonna change a little bit, but we're gonna do our best to definitely get some more stuff out to y'all as well, and interact with us now that we have video and you know who you're gonna be talking to. I mean, that'd be really cool to see. So, yeah.
Yeah. Before we sign off here, Carlos Nava had his 6th professional boxing fight, and he won. Boxing match. He won. It was a pretty tough fight. I had talked with him a good bit. Congrats, first off, Carlos. You look great. It was probably his toughest opponent, and he had told me it was his toughest opponent. Not that the fight itself was super tough, but this guy took it to Carlos, and he was in his face the whole time. He tried to make it a dirty fight. There were some rabbit punches. There were some headbutts, or at least attempted ones, alleged. But for the most part, Carlos was able to keep his cool, and he had one knockdown, I think, in the 3rd round. But it was just a pretty decent fight. I know that Carlos wants to go in there and get the knockout every time. I know he does. So I assume that he's going to be back in the gym working on it. But that's 6-0. That's another big step. Each time he goes in there, it's just such a cool experience for him to be able to piece everything together, and like it's cool that we get to be part of that journey.